Hello, welcome back to Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching. This is Erin. So, I'm going to get right to the point with this podcast because I am also using this podcast to emotionally regulate myself because I had a kind of complicated issue tonight and, I have been regulating myself and talking to my father and I'm very emotional. And I think my rotator cuff is torn. And I think I might be done with roller derby. This is a maybe because I'm still emotionally regulating myself. But, true to my podcast, I try to be authentic and share what's in my mind and heart. And, I'm just sitting with this thought that maybe roller derby is not for me anymore. After being away in India and really deepening my yoga practice and then, going to Costa Rica, leading a training there, being in Yoga Land again, and then, my studio, my spiritual sangha, the people around me, like that love me, that support me, that are positive lights in my life, and I'm positive lights in their life. They're all my yoga spiritual friends. And I have some of those from my derby team. But, most people are a little bit disconnected from emotions because you have to be. It's a full contact sport. So, there's a lot of stoicism. There's a lot of really hard edges. And, sitting here with my plug falling out of the wall. Sitting here with my shoulder aching, having just literally just solved my right shoulder problem. Now I'm like, oh, do I have another shoulder problem? Oh, great. Just getting hit hard on scrimmages, I think a little unnecessarily hard. Not feeling, I guess like the team might be receptive to that. I'm in a state right now, and I called my father earlier, and he's a really good listener, and he holds space pretty well. And he asked me one question that just really stuck with me, and he said, "Is the risk worth the payoff?" And that kind of stopped me because I was upset. I was crying. I was super sweaty. I had ice pack. It started to drip on my shoulder. And derby is cool, but having a functional body is cooler. But yeah, I'm just soaked in sweat and tears. And, it's just kind of venting. And my father said, "Is the risk worth the payoff?" He said, I think that you're pretty good at making decisions. I think that's a good question to ask yourself and a fair question. And so I'm sitting here, again, my shoulder's throbbing. I have some ibuprofen in my hand that I don't want to take, but I know I have to. And yeah, it's a good question to ask ourselves, right? Is the risk worth the payoff? Now, I feel like I committed to the season, right? I committed, and actually coming back from Yoga Land, my first practice back was awful. I was so terrible. It was just, I was in parasympathetic nervous system for 2 months straight. And I was like, what cardio? And so that was a little humbling to say the least. But it was motivating at the same time, if I can see, oh, wow, I really need improvement here. It's got with my friend Ray, doing personal training again, doing cardio, taking walks, lifting weights, right? Really put my heart behind it. So I don't mind doing that. I don't mind putting in the work, and I don't have to be the best at something. In fact, it's really good to not be the best at quite a few things. Some things, yes, just to feel encouraged. But, most things in life you're not going to be the best at, or even the top maybe. So it's good to be humbled because, like for me, I think I have a pretty good attitude towards these things most of the time. It'll just motivate me if I'm interested to commit to it and really work hard. And so it's difficult for me because I really just kind of cultivated that mindset. And, part of me really likes pushing myself athletically, though certainly I can do that with yoga and other ways. Competition is something that I've done for a good chunk of my life. But I have to say another thing. I'm not sure I like the person that I turn into when I'm like highly competitive. I don't think I'm like toxically competitive. It's not like that. I actually think I have a healthy relationship with competition with others for the most part. I have my moments like anyone, but overall I think I have a pretty good attitude. But pushing oneself in that way creates a lot of heat and inflammation in the body, right? There's certain supplements that I would take, like L-carnitine and arginine and ornithine, which help with the to flush out lactic acid, to keep your lymphatic system going, to dilate the blood vessels so that you get more blood flow. I don't feel like huge effects from them necessarily, like in the gross way, but like I feel like my body's been hotter lately. Maybe that's I'm putting on muscle, but I think it's more, it's a very Rajasic activity. Derby is. And what does that mean? It's a very aggressive sport. Like it's super aggressive. You're hitting people, you're yelling, you're pushing. I love it because it challenges me in a way that's so different. And honestly, I kind of like this most of the time. That like I ain't shit to my derby players. Like I really not. Like I am not this podcaster. I'm not an author to them. I'm just a player. Like, and that's humbling, and it's good. I think it's good to kind of put things into perspective because, I work out of my 2 studios and I'm like the little mayor of Thrive. I'm like, hello, like doing my mayor wave to my people. And I love my people there. Like they're my fam. And, I get to do healing work there, but I think it's also good to put yourself in situations where you ain't shit. By the way, I just want to share this just because this is a more casual podcast. I went on the back end of my website because my forms were just doing a thing, which, by the way, if you submitted a form to coach with me in the last 2 months, I probably didn't get it. Please resubmit, but sort of fixing some things on the back end. And I came across a blog post comment, and it was somebody who had listened to one of my episodes and said, I was really digging what you were saying spiritually, and but then you cursed in the same sentence that you used Sangha. And it was such a turn off, and there's probably a lot of people that feel this way. And, basically saying I'm not a fan anymore, goodbye, please change. And I, that was interesting because I was like, oh, I don't usually get comments like that. And I think maybe that's shadow integration work. I never claimed to be pious. I am just real. I'm a spiritual person. I love hard. I love fierce. I'm imperfect. I play roller derby, I'm a martial artist. I'm not I don't just sit in my room and eat saltines and ohm all day like I do. I'm a very woman of action. I'm very Rajasic. I'm very pitta. I'm very fiery. But I'm sensitive and I'm loving and I'm nurturing, and I've really worked hard to cultivate those qualities in me. Salute to that person that left that comment. Thank you for expressing your heart. I kind of like the way that I talk and teach on here, right? I'm sharing. I want you to feel like I'm a friend with you because that's how it feels to me. And I'm just sharing my heart. I'm sharing my story. I share some maybe thought-provoking things. I share some tools, right? So, I'm not a high and mighty guru. I can be a temporary stand-in guru sometimes. And certainly I can lead people through their process. I'm a strong leader, and I cultivate strong leaders. So yeah, I thought I'd just address that publicly because I don't get a lot of those comments. I was like, ooh, maybe I should say something. So, is the risk worth the payoff? This is something I'm going to have to sit with. Roller derby community is very, very, very different than yoga community. There's some aspects like, inclusiveness and LGBTQ plus friendly, and there's an element of athleticism, right? So, but yeah, has this part of my life expired? Sitting here with my shoulder throbbing right now, I think, I'm leaning towards yes, but I guess time will tell. So what I'm going to do is write down the pros and the cons of me playing roller derby, and I'm going to have an honest conversation with myself. When everything happened, I needed to emotionally regulate. I requested space because I really just need to sit with this. So yeah, real deal stuff, y'all. You might have some big issues in your life that, it's like, especially if you committed to it, it's like, is this the best thing for me? Like, is this the best thing for my health? I don't mind helping and being committed and loving, but if it's causing harm to me, that can cause harm and to maybe take away some of the other things in my life. I really have some serious decision making. So maybe you've been in a situation like this too before. I'm sure you have, because we're all human. So, I'm going to get going in a little bit because this pain is getting a little bit much. But I just want to say, for my listeners, thank you for accepting me as human. Thank you for being okay that I fucking curse sometimes, but then I'll say Sangha. Thank you for not putting me up on a pedestal, because I don't want to be there. I don't want to play that role. And I really want to be on the same level as you and sit next to you like a friend and guide you. And I learn from my students just as much as they learn from me. So yeah, thank you for listening to my podcast. This is episode 371. It's kind of crazy. So love you guys. If you want to reach out, even just send an email, Erin@erincoach.com. Just be like, hey, I heard your last podcast. I want to make sure you're okay. So yeah, I feel very vulnerable and human right now. And honestly, I feel like I have to make a hard decision. So support is welcome. Love, welcome. And thank you, everyone. I guess I'll say my promotions now. I do have Coach School coming up September 16th to the 23rd. We have 6 spots left for that now. So if you're interested in that, email me, Erin@erincoach.com. You can find some information on the website at thriveyogafit.com. If you look under coaching certification, you'll see the dates and the different topics that we cover, everything from shadow work to avatar work to asking yourself hard questions after getting bumped in derby. That's not a separate packet. That's within. My programs are very powerful. You get really close to the people that you're going through the course with, and I'm very involved in the whole process from beginning to end. So again, if you're interested, Erin@erincoach.com, and I have 12 spots left for my yoga teacher training. That includes 2 weeks in India. The India part is happening in June. So if that's something you're interested in, you can do it in person or online, except for the India part. You have to be there for that. All right. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. And namaste.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast and if it's helping you, please consider writing a review. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, go into the search bar and type in Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, scroll down, and you can leave a review. This helps other people to find me as well as bumps us up in the search ratings. Also, this podcast is sponsor-free, so that means we don't receive anything for doing it. If you feel so inclined and this podcast is helping to support you and you want to return the favor and help to support any production costs of the podcast, feel free to give a donation to a Venmo link, Thrive Yoga Fit, or PayPal, Erin@erincoach.com. If you don't have the means, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. You're all good. But if you would like to give back, you can give back in those ways. Thank you so much. Namaste.